Now you gotta shift knees. Now hands and legs. Awesome.
My name is Paul Syvrud. Andrea Syvrud is my daughter. I'm the proud dad. I'd like to take just a few minutes and give you kind of a background on Andrea and what brought us to Camelot, and then say just a few words about what Camelot means to our family. Andrea was born in El Salvador, was born prematurely, given too much oxygen, and it caused scar tissue to form behind her retinas, which caused blindness. At 16 months, she came to Texas, where we lived at the time, and we were just asked to host her. She wasn't adoptable. They asked us to host her, take her back and forth to the doctor to see what could be done for her vision, and supposed to be a 2-week to 2-month commitment. About 2 years later, they kept renewing the medical visa. About 2 years later, she became adoptable, and then we couldn't live without her. So she's about 3.5 years old. We knew that there was probably other things wrong, and so before we began the adoption, the advice of a very good friend, we took her to the doctor. She didn't crawl, couldn't walk, couldn't talk. And it was a neurologist in Dallas, and he ordered an MRI of her brain. And her left cerebellum was toasted. It was gone from a what they believe was a stroke in the womb. And so his prognosis was, his exact words were, you're adopting a vegetable. She's not going to crawl, she's not going to walk, she's not going to talk. I would give almost anything for him to be here today, not to prove him wrong, but for him to open his eyes to the fact that miracles still take place. And for a miracle to take place, there has to be 3 things. 1 is a big problem, 2 is a big God, and 3 is big-hearted people that just dare to believe that something that's impossible could change, and that's where Camelot came into our lives. Andrea came here when she first came, was very frightened, very introverted, scared, wouldn't reach out, everything was no, didn't matter what the question was. You want ice cream? No. You want to go to bed? No. Everything was no, and that was her world, was no. And so over time, as they begin to slowly work their way into her heart and gain her confidence, amazing is an understatement to see what's happened with her. But that third component of a miracle, the people that are here are difference makers. When you drove through the gate, you saw Camelot, where heroes are born, and that's true. And the students that are here are heroes, but the reason that they can do the things that everybody else or many other people have written them off and said they couldn't do is because there's a group of people here that are heroes. And they're people that have committed their lives to the improvement of other people's lives. And we're kind of consumer's guide, and progress in our home was never measured by a report card because that didn't work. And so all of the standards that the world had set for success didn't apply to our daughter because of her injury. But all of a sudden, we came here, and everybody needs to be good at something. Everybody needs to be able to feel like they've accomplished something. You'll see today where she's come from to where she's at. But the people here locked arms with us, with her, and stubbornly have walked her forward in a way that we never imagined. A few of the miracles that took place here, I'll never forget the first time I came, and I knew that she was riding. I had no idea she was riding independently, and I stood at this gate and wept. Because she could ride by herself. And that's not a big deal to anybody else. But when progress is measured in your home, a 1/4 inch at a time, this is a big deal. It's a huge deal. Another miracle, when we had worked for years and she couldn't snap because of the fine motor skills that are gone because of the brain injury. And we came, and they make her go get her own gear out of the tack room and get her helmet and get it on, and she would try to get it snapped, and she couldn't until one day. And she got it snapped. And that's not a big deal, except if you have something you need to snap in your life, like your pants, your helmet, kind of one of those daily living skills that comes in handy. But the greatest miracle that's taken place at Camelot is moving a little wounded, broken spirit from I can't to I can. And not only I can, but for the last 2 weeks, she's, with perfect speech, has invited perfect strangers to come to her performance. And oh, by the way, my name is Andrea, and with enthusiasm. And so I celebrate my daughter, but greater than that today, I celebrate this place because this is one of those places that success isn't measured by the standards of the world, it's measured by progress. And we have a group of people here that have committed themselves to locking arms. And so when you touch that one child, you don't just touch that child, it changes our home. And so this is one of those times where you say thank you, but thank you is the most insignificant, doesn't do justice, but I'm going to say thank you anyway to Mary and to the volunteers that have the most incredible attitude, and they've invested expectation in Andrea, and that's a powerful investment. So thank you for everything that everybody has done. Our family is grateful. We'll be forever grateful.